New videos every day. Alrighty, here we go. It's time for live chat. The Psychetruth live chat. Every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time on your YouTube machine. Live chat, live chat, live chat, live chat. Answer your questions about whatever you want to talk about on the Psychetruth live chat, live chat, live chat, live chat. It's the Psychetruth live chat with Cindie Corbin. Aw, heck yeah, you guys. We gotta postpone this asking me to restart my computer. You can't restart your computer in the middle of live chat. All right, thank you so much for being here. And I want to take a moment to welcome you all and let you know that we will be taking your questions live. So we're going to kind of go answer some of the Facebook questions, but we will come back and answer your questions in the room because there's a lot of Facebook questions today. So we want to get to everything. Thank you all for being here. We got Crystal in the house, Tony, Amanda's in the house. Looks like we are on our way to having an exquisite live chat. Cindie, how are you doing today?
Pretty good. We just got done
pull in a little bit.
More yoga videos for you guys. It's a pretty good day. Feeling all right.
Yes, indeed. So, all right. So let's go ahead now, and we're gonna go to the Facebook page. And all righty. Make it a little bigger so we can actually read it. Okay, so Davy Jones asked again about lymphatic massage for liver disease. I have not had the chance to talk to Athena yet, but she's actually going to be my live chat guest on this coming Wednesday, the 20th, week from today. So you can actually ask her in person. I would imagine that lymphatic massage would pretty much be helpful with any situation because you're just helping the body handle toxicity, do a little bit of detoxification, and especially if you're talking about chronic liver disease, since one of the main things your liver does is detoxify, I would imagine lymphatic massage helping to improve your body's ability to detoxify would be beneficial. Mm-hmm. But again, you can actually ask Athena in person next week. So, Amanda Nicole Wilcoxon, thank you for your question. She says, I'm doing really great, cooking everything from scratch for every meal. That is awesome. I will say you are even farther along than I am if you are making everything from scratch in every meal. So she says, I run into some trouble finding organic ingredients sometimes. So my question is, should I get conventional fresh tomatoes or organic canned tomatoes? So that's kind of a difficult question. I think I personally would opt for organic just because, it's, honestly, there's a lot of different things on either side. So things that are fresh are going to have more enzymes, have more phytonutrients, just in general probably have more nutrition than something that's canned. But if you're talking conventional, then it's potentially also got chemicals sprayed on it, pesticides sprayed on it. It could potentially even be genetically modified in some cases. I would just kind of go probably with whatever is least expensive or whatever is going to make the most sense in your recipe. Obviously, for a salad, you maybe don't want canned tomatoes. And I just want to throw in there again that even if you're eating a conventional fruit or vegetable, it's still going to be 10 times more healthy for you than just about any other thing you could eat. So even if you can't afford the organic, then it's still okay. You're still going to get a lot of benefits and a lot of nutrition from eating fruits and vegetables. So I know organic can be more expensive. It can be hard to find. So don't let that stop you from buying a fruit or vegetable just because it's not organic. But in terms of my personal opinion, what I personally would choose, I do try to opt more for organic foods. And then she also asks, what's my take on fresh versus frozen fruit? Again, something that's fresh is going to have more of its enzymes, more of its phytonutrients, more of itself just kind of intact than something that's been frozen. But again, you're still going to get some benefit even if it is frozen. So, I wouldn't, stand there in the grocery store for 20 minutes trying to deliberate on one or the other. Just know that any fruit or vegetable is going to be good for you, definitely way better for you than any of the processed foods you could be buying. Alrighty, so again, Amanda Nicole Wilcoxon asking, what's my take on skincare? I try to read all the labels, including on bath products. There's BHT in my shampoo. Should I worry? I feel like if it's not healthy for me to ingest, why should I allow it to possibly soak into my skin? And Amanda, you are spot on in your thinking there. So I've said this in live chats before, but anything we put onto the top of our skin, it also goes into our bloodstream. So it's not saran wrap that we are encoded with. Our skin is penetrable. And so things we put on our skin do actually enter our body. So I personally apply the same thing to my skin and body products that I do with my food and try to avoid things with a really, really long ingredient label. Try to avoid things that contain paraben. Sometimes you'll see methylparaben, propylparaben. These guys are especially harmful and have been found in breast cancer lumps, breast cancer tumors. So all of those weird different chemicals that we might find on the back of a skincare product, I try to avoid and opt for more natural things. So in terms of lotion and stuff like that, I use coconut oil. You can also use almond oil or pretty much any kind of vitamin E is another really good thing for dry skin. I love using vitamin E on my skin. And then as far as shampoo and conditioners go, you can usually, if you are in a health food store or in a more health conscious grocery, you can find things that have a shorter ingredient list. Also avoiding fragrance. And even if it says natural fragrance, again, this is kind of like the natural flavors that we find in food, where they don't really regulate what they can use for these fragrances, and when something says fragrance, it could be a whole laundry list of other chemicals that name is actually kind of a code name for. So you're very smart to feel like, hey, if it's not healthy for me to eat, why would I put it on my skin? And I wish you the best of luck in finding some natural healthcare or natural skincare. We actually do have some future videos planned where we're going to show you some ideas on how you can really cheaply and healthily make your own skincare products. So I'm just going to kind of turn over here and look at some of these comments in the chat room. So we've got first time watching live. I'm the overly skeptical naysayer. Let's see if I get my panties in a bunch. Okay, Michael Lyons, I will take your challenge. We will both take your challenge for that. Definitely let me know if I cross the line. Stan is in the room. He says dudes don't use the word panties anymore. It's so 1990s. It's hard to believe that the 1990s is kind of the past now, but who knew?
I love this comment, Mr. Nibbles Mommy.
Okay, so Amanda, which is Mr. Nibbles Mommy, she says the little boy I mentioned who is overweight. So this was a couple of weeks ago. Amanda was in the live chat and she said, hey, I'm babysitting for this little boy and he seems really overweight. What should I do? So I kind of offered her the idea of maybe trying to get him involved in a fun physical activity. And she mentioned that, hey, there's a karate class that goes on while I'm babysitting him. And she actually sent me a picture of him in his karate outfit. That was really cool. And so now she's kind of giving us an update here, which is he's actually lost a few pounds after doing karate. So that's awesome. Not to mention that things like karate are really, really fun. So whenever you can incorporate your physical exercise and your physical fitness into something that's fun and kind of becomes a hobby, you kind of get a double bonus there. And let's see. Vithu Bala, I need help. I am fat and I get bullied a lot. What should I do? So let's kind of take this in two parts. So the first thing I want to mention is that what other people say to us or about us is much less a reflection of us and much more a reflection
something within them.
Of them, right? So when people bully us or pick on us or say mean things to us, then we kind of have to work on building a thick skin, because unfortunately throughout our entire lives there will be people who say mean things, try to break us down, try to make us feel bad about ourselves, and we just have to remember that, you know what, whatever mean things that person is saying about me, it's probably actually more a reflection of how they're feeling about themselves, and it doesn't really have anything to do with me. Clearly you haven't done anything wrong. So I know it sounds, we all know that we shouldn't take it personally what other people say about us, but really and truly, if we can kind of cultivate that ability to not let those things affect us and to kind of let them slide over us, we'll be a lot better off throughout our lives. Do you want to share something about bullying or building our self-confidence? So let's see. Okay, so that's kind of, thinking about being bullied, think about people picking on us, in all of my years of being on YouTube now, I have gotten picked on for just about everything. I've had people say that my nose is crooked and my mouth is too wide and my hair is too frizzy and I should be taking my own weight loss advice. You name it, and people have picked on me for it. And it was a really good kind of lesson for me to realize that, you know what, I can't take this personally. Clearly these people don't even know me. I'm trying to do something that's helpful to them. I'm trying to make these videos and offer something beneficial. So if all they can do is pick on me or say something mean, then that's probably more a signifier that they have some problems and they're not feeling good. And so they're trying to, reflect that back on someone else. Let me know if y'all want me to elaborate on this subject, but I'm going to go ahead and move on to the second part. So in terms of trying to lose weight, I would just encourage you to check out some of the videos on our channel. You can, I actually am editing a video right now that's called 10 Easy Ways to Lose Weight. That'll probably be going up this Friday, so hopefully that'll be helpful to you. But then also we've got tons and tons of videos talking about what foods to avoid, what are the top 10 obesity-causing foods. So I just encourage you to kind of educate yourself a little bit, because what I found is that once I started learning just a little bit about nutrition and what is really the ultimate cause of us gaining unwanted weight and feeling hungry all the time, just that little bit of information kind of empowered me to make better decisions and to do better things. So things like refined sugar and refined carbohydrates like white bread, white tortillas, white pasta, those carbohydrates are, if you can cut them out or significantly limit them, that's going to be a really, really good idea. And then I would encourage you to actually eat more healthy fats. So a lot of us, if we're trying to lose weight, will eat fat-free, non-fat items. And those items, not only are they going to make it so that you can never feel full and satisfied and you always feel hungry, but also they're really important for our overall health. So olive oil, coconut oil, avocados, those are kind of my favorite things to mention. Eating some of those good fats should really help you, and then laying off the sugar, laying off the carbohydrates. And again, if you'd like more information, there's tons and tons of information on our channel. So, alrighty, so let's go back over to the Facebook here and see if we've got some more good questions. All right, Sydney Olivia Conway. I want to thank Sydney because she always leaves really good questions. She says, why is soy lecithin in everything? And is the only reason it's bad for you is because the soy is likely GMO? All right, so then, okay, so I'll take this in parts. So soy lecithin. One of the primary reasons that it's in everything is because it's really, really cheap. and it's really cheap to produce soy. As you mentioned, soy is one of the genetically modified crops, so they've basically got soy coming out of their ears, right? So lecithin, this is just kind of a filler, so that you can use it in just about anything. It's not a flavor, it doesn't really have a taste, it's just kind of a filler. So literally you'll see soy lecithin in almost any product, or certainly any processed food product that you pick up. In terms of why it's bad for you, number one, as you mentioned, because most of the soy is GMO. Number two, soy is an endocrine disruptor. It's a hormone disruptor. So people who consume a lot of soy products, and then the thing about soy lecithin being in everything is that even if you don't think you eat a lot of soy, a lot of us are actually getting a lot of it in our diet because it's in so many processed foods. So soy can actually disrupt our hormones, disrupt our endocrine system, and lead to problems with our thyroid, direct problems with hormones, which might be mood disorders or mood problems or just moodiness in general. So too much soy can be problematic for those reasons. And then also just for all of the potential health effects that they don't even know about, right? So all of these different food chemicals, and there's literally hundreds of them, they can't do safety testing on every single one of them. They can't tell how much Cindie accumulates or how much I accumulate because they have no idea which products, each individual person's eating. But if you've got soy lecithin in 9 out of 10 foods that you eat every day, well then you can imagine that, you've got a lot of soy accumulating. So there's all these health effects that they don't even know about because they don't test the food additives that thoroughly anyway. They do a little bit of testing on them. So there's also a lot of health effects that they don't even know about that would be associated with soy lecithin and just about any other food additive for that matter. All right, Sydney continues, I can't seem to give up dairy, but I'm at least putting in an effort to cut back. If you had to pick the lesser of two evils between cheese and light mayonnaise, what would it be? It's kind of a tough one. I would just go for something that's the most natural one with the least amount of ingredients in it. So in cheese products and in mayonnaise products, oftentimes you'll turn over the label and it'll have all this crazy stuff in it. So I would just look for something that has a short ingredient list, and that's always going to be the lesser of any evils. And then again, this recurrence of the light products, right? So what they've done is actually taken some of the fat out of the mayonnaise, and that's not necessarily better for you. And again, you can check out the top 10 worst habits video. I talk about this. The video that's going up on Friday, I talk about that as well. Is carbonated soda water bad for you? So carbonation in general has an acidifying effect on the body. So when we talk about pH and wanting to alkalize our body or wanting to have more alkalinity in our body, carbonation in beverages is one thing that is going to make us more acidic. So yes, as you said, obviously it's way better than soda pop or any other soft drink that most people drink. But you don't want to just only be drinking carbonated water. So, if you think about, 80% of the time that you're drinking water, you just drink pure, clean, filtered water. But then some of the time, it's definitely okay to have a little bit of carbonated. But I do know some people who all they drink is carbonated water. They don't ever drink regular water. And that is probably potentially problematic. Okie dokie. So back into the comments here in the feed. Let's see, a question about how to get thinning hair to grow back. I'll have to do some research on that. But again, I would just kind of apply what you could say is, kind of a functional medicine approach, which is that when your body is getting all the nutrients it needs and is not being bombarded with toxicity or chemicals or alcohol or whatever, then it's going to function better. So just cleaning up your diet, laying off the processed foods, eating more vegetables and natural foods should also kind of help your hair and help get your hair thicker. And again, I would come back to fats once more and say that if you are not getting adequate healthy fats in your diet, so not donuts, not fried foods, but good healthy fats like avocados and coconut oil, then your skin quality is going to suffer, and also I'd imagine it would make your hair thin too. So I'll see about potentially doing an entire video on that. My eye twitches when a chemical name being long is the reason why it's bad.
Just say the bad ones.
I'm not exactly sure, Michael, what you mean there. I think that I'm just maybe confused. I don't think that's a question. I think that's a comment. Okay, so here's one for Cindie. Benvolio 15.
Oh, jeez.
How many tattoos do you have? Notice I asked how many does she have, not where does she have them. Okay, so you don't...
This has been a big piece of controversy on Psychetruth. My tattoos.
So how many?
Let me count. I think I have about 8 or 9 off the top of my head.
Cool.
Yay, problem solved. Mystery solved.
Alrighty, so what's my take? Oh, so this is Wilfredo Tour. What is our take on sunscreen regarding the chemical components and stuff?
Ooh.
So this is another area with a lot of information and potentially conflicting information. So I'll just tell you, me personally, again, I look over and read the ingredients, and most sunscreens it's going to be an encyclopedia on the back of all this crazy stuff that's in there. Again, you might see BHT, you might see methylparaben or propylparaben. So I do not use commercial sunscreens on my skin. And I live in Texas. I get moderate sun. If I'm really in the sun for a really long time, I make sure to definitely wear a hat. And there are natural sunscreens. You can order them online. We have different places in town that actually sell a natural sunscreen that has a lot less ingredients in it. So, yeah, I think that it's best to avoid those really crazy chemical Franken products.
Well, yeah, because
to put on
what's
our skin.
the point of cleaning up the inside of your body if you're just going to throw in some more chemicals that are just going to soak up into your body anyways, you know?
Yeah.
It's just logic.
You know, but of course everybody has very different skin. So Cindie has more fair skin than I do. So maybe for her it's actually going to be more important to to wear sunscreen and to protect her skin a little bit better. So again, this is an issue that I've kind of been working on a video about. Since we're about to embark on winter time, this one may kind of go on the back burner a little bit, but it's a really good question. And I would just say, if you are spending lots of time in the shade and you can't cover your skin with a hat or with clothing, then sunscreen's going to be a good idea. I would just encourage you to look for one with a much shorter ingredient list, or even order something online that is going to have a lot less chemicals in it than your typical sunscreen that we find in the grocery store. Wheelman Stan asked about the best way to lose weight other than donating a kidney or getting dysentery or food poisoning. So again, I would just direct you guys to, I've got probably over 100 different videos on weight loss on the Psychetruth channel, and yet another one coming out this week. Lay off the processed foods, eat whole natural foods, eat more vegetables, eat more healthy fats, to kind of sum it all up there. If you're drinking sodas and you're trying to lose weight, you need to stop drinking sodas. The calories we drink, this is something I said in my videos, the calories we drink are really insidious because we don't necessarily associate them with weight gain, but sugar, no matter how you take it in, whether it's in a drink or it's in a donut, it's gonna cause weight gain. So if you're still drinking sodas, I encourage you to stop, whether it's for weight loss or just to improve your health. I encourage you to lay off the sodas.
Difference.
Okay, so Vithubala, she's replying now. She says, yeah, I've seen all of your videos and watched it and watched them in the summer. I followed it and I lost about 20 pounds. Way to go. That's awesome. Yet I still get bullied. What to do? And I would just say that, unfortunately, there's really nothing we can do to stop people from bullying us.
You're probably just really awesome. You just don't know yet.
Yeah, chances are
because
people
who are unique are the people who become like the most awesome people when they're all grown up, right? But when you're a kid, anything that's different is going to be something to laugh at, And you know what? More power to you. I don't think you should give two hoots about those guys, really. I think that you should just continue being your awesome self, embrace that, and become the awesome person that you're going to be, That's cool. Stay you.
Yeah, and
Don't worry about it.
Another one of the things that I have found really helpful for myself is not only recognizing that what other people say really is not a reflection of you or who you are.
There's probably things going on in their lives that, even I think that cultivating a sense of compassion for them would be a huge step for you in accepting, like, the fact that these kids are being mean to you. These people are being mean to you.
Yeah, but just recognize that if, there's nothing that we can do to change other people's actions or to change what other people say to us.
We can change the way that we see the world, the way that we see people around us, and the way that we handle that and react to that.
Yeah, and then also, one of the things that's really been helpful for me is to make a list of the things that I like about myself and that I like to do. So I like making videos about nutrition. I like going for a run with my dog. I like playing music. I like creating. I like one really fun little hobby thing that I think is really fun is you can actually go to like a Hobby Lobby or something and they have all this different colored paper. Back in there.
Came back with her. Here we go.
Picked up, I guess, where we left off.
You're good to go. So it's just on a lag. Live.
Okay.
Oh. Okay,
Alrighty.
I guess we're live.
So I guess we're back on now here. Sorry about that. Okay. Let's
yeah. Okay. So I was gonna tell that girl that
I don't know
who
why
was
it's
being
chopping
bullied.
our faces off.
I don't know.
Which one is this right? All right, guys.
Hi.
This is being weird. Anyways, if you can't see us, let us know. But hopefully it's okay. Alrighty.
I was gonna tell you. Where were we? I just want to get back to her.
We were talking about bullying.
Okay, so if you're being bullied and you're in like a particular scene, like a school or something, I would suggest maybe branching out to a whole new group of people. Maybe joining. Just because we were talking about it, so I had a karate class. Which would also help with the weight thing. But going out there and joining a whole different set of people who, just you can make a whole new impression on might really be helpful. Awesome. If that's available to you, unless you're in like a small town or something, I don't know.
Yeah, another thing, so I was talking about making a list of things that you like about yourself and that you like to do and focusing on how you feel about yourself, because ultimately we can't control at all how other people feel about us. All we can control is how we feel about ourselves. So, like she said, doing something nice for someone else or volunteering your time in a soup kitchen or something like that. If you give of yourself to help others, chances are that is going to make you feel so awesome and so wonderful that other people being mean to you shouldn't even bother you anymore. And hopefully, as you start to cultivate, like she was saying, your compassion for yourself and your love for yourself, then what other people say to you will start to just kind of like, you know, hit you and then bounce right off, right? I remember when I was a kid, they'd say, everything you say to me bounces off me and back onto you. And
I'm rubber, you're glue.
And it really is kind of true. You know, when somebody says something mean or hurtful, it's only hurtful, it's really only hurting them. Yes, Google hates me. That's true. I'm looking in the comments now. So we're going to try to get back on track here. I, again, just want to apologize for our little problem there. It was a Windows update, and you're right, at the beginning of the chat, I had told it not to restart my computer, but I guess it did it anyways, unfortunately. So, luckily, we are back. We're in the same window. It looks like there's still a good amount of people here, which is awesome. So where were we question-wise?
Why is he keep posting that?
At least he's saying something nice. Okay. All right, so let's go back over to the Facebook here. Although I could have sworn there were some questions in here.
Probably.
Okay, you guys, so since there was that huge lag there, go ahead and re-ask your question. So if you had a question that you put up there, then you please re-ask it now because we kind of lost track of things. So here's one that just came in. Derek Smith. Corrina, are you totally against aspartame? You can bet your britches I am. So aspartame, it's an artificial sweetener. It is actually sweeter than sugar, and it's a no-calorie sweetener, right? So oftentimes you'll actually see that they've actually said on there, things that are sugar-free, things that are fat-free will contain aspartame because it's no calories. But this is the classic example of a food chemical that we want to avoid. They have done lots of research on them, and they actually know that artificial sweeteners have toxic effects on the body, particularly on the brain. Also, it's really confusing. So imagine, your body is sitting there and every time sugar enters your bloodstream, your body kind of freaks out a little bit and goes, oh my God, I have to handle this. So when you eat artificial sweeteners, you are totally confusing the heck out of your body because now your brain is registering that you've eaten something sweet. But then there's not actually any glucose. There's not actually really any sugar that's coming in there. So oftentimes things that contain aspartame, they will still contain carbohydrates. They will still actually contain carbohydrates and contain calories that are potentially going to make you fat anyway. But it totally confuses your blood sugar metabolism because your brain is thinking you're eating something sweet, and then your bloodstream is going, where's all the sugar? I just pumped out all this insulin thinking that there was going to be all this sugar, and now it's not here. So many, many different reasons that I would urge you to avoid eating aspartame. I personally definitely avoid eating aspartame, and y'all can again let me know if you want me to elaborate on the subject of sweeteners, aspartame, and blood sugar. But right now I will go ahead and move back over to
Mike's voice sounded like the voice of God. That's pretty funny.
Oh yeah, and then Charlie threw in something interesting here. I'm totally against aspartame. It's evil stuff. It gave me a ringing in my ears that drove me crazy. If you actually look up aspartame side effects, there are all kinds of crazy things that people experience as a result of eating aspartame. And then another thing that you should know is that anytime you personally have some kind of effect that's caused by eating a food chemical, you can go to FDA.gov, and we're actually responsible for submitting that information ourselves. So we can actually go in and say, hey, aspartame caused me this, 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 and that. And the FDA won't know about it unless we, unfortunately, on our own time, go and file that report to let them know. Okay, so where was I with the Facebook? Do, 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 do. Do, 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 do. All right, here we go.
What a mess.
I just can't
Thanks,
win
guys.
today, you guys. You know how some days it just seems like the computer hates you? You clearly did something to tick the computer off. It's just really mad at you. That's how my day feels today. Okie dokie. So, Eric Abernathy. Have you ever tried Ormus, or have you taken any herbs that have altered your state of consciousness? Some herbs make me feel sad or angry. Is this normal? Every herb is different. Every person is different. So I would say we just have to go off of our personal experience. And if you took something and it made you not feel good or not feel happy, then I wouldn't take it anymore. I just would point out that there are other things that can make us feel sad or make us feel angry, like eating lots of carbohydrates, eating lots of sugar, eating lots of caffeine, all of these things that bring us up. And we get a sugar rush, you also get a sugar crash, right? And so if I eat too much sugar or eat too many carbohydrates at lunch, I will feel all like blue and groggy and sad. And I can go, oh my gosh, this is because of what I ate for lunch. Oh my goodness. Mm-hmm. So if you are sure that it was that herb, it's certainly possible. I would just say that that's probably a sign that that's not a good herb for you. I personally have not ever had any experiences like that, but it's certainly possible. Anything is possible. And while I'm thinking about it, I remembered a comment that somebody made before we got cut off there, and I think it was Aubrey and Audrey was the name of the screen name, and the question was, I'm kind of confused, and of course I'm ad-libbing here because I don't have it in front of me, but she said, I'm kind of confused because I've been taking the advice of durian writer and eating lots and lots of carbohydrates, and I'm in great shape. So I have a question for you. Number one, how active are you? So we get a lot of questions of people going, 30 bananas a day. Durian writer told me to eat 30 bananas a day. You know, what? And you're telling people not to eat carbs. Well, you got to recognize that Durian Rider rides his bicycle several miles a day. He is way more physically active than me, probably more physically active than Cindie, probably more physically active than just about, 80, if not 90% of the population, definitely in America.
I almost feel like it's really, I'm not saying anything against him, but it's almost unprofessional for him to not consider that when sharing his information.
Well, and he does in his videos encourage people to be really active.
Yeah.
But you got to realize that, like, eating 30 bananas a day and losing weight is contingent upon you being really active. So it's absolutely necessary that if you're eating that many carbs and you're eating that much sugar, you need to be extremely, extremely active in order to burn it off. The reason that I give advice to people to avoid carbohydrates if they want to lose weight is because most of us are sedentary. And most of us, even if we, can make it to the gym a couple times a week, we're still mostly sedentary. We're still spending 90% of our time not being physically active, as opposed to the durian writer, who probably only spends about maybe 50 or 60% of his time not being active, right? Like when he's sleeping or making food. And other than that, it seems like he's on his bicycle working out. So another line of distinction can be drawn between carbohydrates that come naturally from fruits and from vegetables, and carbohydrates that come from refined sugar and refined flour products like white bread and white flour products. And there's a reason that the durian writer doesn't tell you to eat 30 pieces of white bread a day, because those refined carbohydrates that come from processed flour are not good for you, are not good for anybody, and certainly aren't going to help anybody lose weight. So Audrey, I can't remember what the screen name was, but if you're still in here, leave a comment and let me know how active you are. And just know that when we're talking about taking a recommendation like eating 30 bananas a day or eating huge amounts of carbs, number one, they're talking about healthy carbs. They're talking about natural carbs that come from fruit and vegetables. And number two, the physical activity level is crucial to make eating that way something that would actually help you lose weight. Okay. Is gluten listed in ingredients ever, or they only say in a sentence after the ingredients like this product contains gluten? So this was Emmanuel. I apologize on your last name here. Emmanuel Ziri? I don't know. So you're right, Emmanuel. Usually the ingredient list itself won't actually say gluten. Sometimes you will see wheat gluten in the ingredient list. That would be a surefire sign right there. But usually underneath it, it'll say like the allergy information contains gluten or contains tree nuts or contains dairy or soy, things like that. So you can look for the words wheat gluten and then look in that little section that says allergy information, but then just know that any kind of wheat flour, any kind of, enriched flour, wheat flour, unbleached flour, there's a lot of different names you might see. All of those things do contain gluten. And so if you are gluten sensitive and you're trying to take gluten out of your diet, then you want to avoid anything that contains those. And chances are, if you're on a gluten-free diet and you're going that route, you want to look for things that actually say on the label gluten-free, that actually proclaim that there's no gluten, because it's hidden in a lot of different foods. I've talked a lot about gluten-free diets and why somebody would want to go gluten-free. If y'all want me to talk about that, leave it in a comment. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and move on because I feel like I've discussed that a lot. Google hates you. That was so 10 minutes ago. Awesome. Ooh, yeah. Any tips for being healthy during the next couple of months? Thanksgiving and Christmas time really wreck my diet. Help. What do I do? And there was another question. This one is actually from Jonathan Tullock, but there was another question along similar lines that I saw while we were offline there for a minute. So for me, I'll just be perfectly honest for you. Honest with you. The way that I avoid really tempting things that I know I shouldn't eat is by giving myself a replacement for it. So, for instance, there will be tons of people bringing in cookies and bringing in brownies and bringing in a cake, and here's all kinds of different crazy sweets and stuff. And so the only way that I will be able to avoid those things and resist those things is if I have something that I feel like is a replacement. So for me, it's a dark chocolate candy bar. And when we eat dark chocolate, and especially, of course, I want to get like the organic one. I get one that's at least 70% dark. When we eat dark chocolate, it usually contains a lot less sugar. It contains more antioxidants because the raw cacao beans actually do have some antioxidant content in them. So you're actually getting less sugar, more antioxidants, and you can eat, at least for me, eat less of it. So if I just eat a couple little pieces of dark chocolate, I'm satisfied. I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, I satisfied my sweet tooth. I'm ready to move on. So having my little thing that I'm splurging on, and this is the same way that I avoided that like never-ending bowl of Halloween candy that was in the front of the office, was that I had my own thing that I had for myself that, you know, obviously I wouldn't say a dark chocolate candy bar is health food, but it's going to be way better than something with a lot of refined sugar, refined carbs, all of those Reese's peanut butter cups and Hershey bars. It probably has GMO in it because it's got canola oil, it's got soy, it's probably got high fructose corn syrup, and all of those things are very commonly GMO. So so that's kind of my trick. The other trick I would say is to carry around good, healthy snacks with you. Because if you're really hungry and somebody has some food or is offering you some food, it's going to be really unlikely that you're going to be able to resist it unless you have something to kind of help curb your hunger and keep you from being really, really hungry the whole time. Before I go to eat Thanksgiving dinner or eat Christmas dinner, I will eat a big salad because I know that once I get there, there's probably not going to be a salad unless I bring it. And there will be all of these other things that I can just gorge myself on, like mashed potatoes and corn. And since I don't really eat meat, I'm eating a lot of those sides and stuff, sweet potatoes, mashed potatoes. So I try to eat something before I go so that when I get there, I'm not just ravenously hungry and pile up my plate with a bunch of junk. I would also encourage you to find groups of your friends that maybe all want to do a healthy potluck together. So you all kind of chip in and bring something healthy to the table. That's a good idea. So that you can still have, because it's fun going to those events and you have all this different food and everybody brings different things and you get to taste like all this different food. It's very exciting. So if you can find a group of friends that maybe all want to go in together and have a little gathering like that, but just make it things that are healthier, then that can be a really fun thing to do during the holidays too. Also, spices like cinnamon.
Ooh, yeah.
Are really, really awesome. And cinnamon will help to satisfy a sweet tooth. So you can add cinnamon to your tea. You can add it to really just about anything for that matter. But I usually eat a lot of cinnamon over the holiday time because it gives me that holiday feeling of satisfaction, but it actually curbs my sugar cravings so that I'm not sitting there, eating tons and tons of cookies or something. Okie dokie. I'm on. Okay.
It's
Psychetruth Jeopardy. I'll take history for 200. That's cool. So just to follow up here on the aspartame, Charlie has now added in, I only realized that aspartame was giving me that ringing in my ears when I quit drinking diet soda, per Corrina's advice, and the ringing went away. So, so that's something interesting, and that brings up a really good point, which is a lot of times we might not even be aware of how foods are affecting us until we go off of them. And that's the whole idea of an elimination diet, is that if you're eating all these different things and you're not feeling well and you feel sick and you can't get better and you can't figure out what's wrong, well, then you start eliminating things out of your diet and see how you feel. And if you can't really tell anything when you take them out, then you stay off of them for 2 or 3 weeks and then slowly integrate them back in. And when you start to integrate them back in, you will be very, very aware of how they affect you. Alrighty, back over to the Facebook here for a second. Inez Castello. Hi, Corrina. I would like to know what's the healthiest yogurt, low-fat, Greek, or natural yogurt? You mentioned coconut milk yogurt in one of your videos, but I can't find it here in the UK. So again, I want to throw in a plug for good, healthy fats. Don't go for the low fat. Go for the full fat food because it's actually going to fill you up and help you feel satisfied. And that's why you're eating in the first place, right? Because you're freaking hungry. So go for the full fat because it's got the health benefits. It's going to help fill you up and actually satisfy that hunger. And it's less processed. So you got to imagine that there is not a cow on the planet that has skim milk coming out of its udders. It just doesn't happen, right? The way that the milk comes out of the cow, it has fat in it. So if you're drinking low-fat milk or fat-free yogurt, then some chemical process has gone in there to take the fat out. And I would say that's not a natural product. So Greek yogurt or natural yogurt, go with the full fat. You'll actually enjoy it better, and it'll actually fill you up and help you feel satisfied so that you don't want to keep eating it or keep eating other things, etc. Man, it's so funny. Well, I'll be sitting here like, oh, there's no more comments, and then they just
it's
fall in
bam.
like 50 at a time. So forgive us for kind of being a little wonkety here and trying to find your questions.
There was one about that I think you might like to read, if I can find it.
I think we
were just
saw
boomed
those.
with questions. No. There was one about cooking. Oh my god. So many compliments to Corrina. Okay. Oh, these are all old, yeah.
Yeah, I think these are all old.
There's one asking if you're going to continue making more cooking shows because someone was running out of recipe ideas.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to do some more cooking stuff. But the whole idea of my cooking show is that it's really, really freaking easy. It's the cooking show for people who hate to cook, for people who maybe they've never ever cooked in their whole life. So I'm not going to really be giving you like real fancy recipes. The whole thing for me, and this is how I cook very simple. I really don't use a recipe. I go very basic. So that's what I'm going to be teaching you guys to do in my little cooking show video. But maybe we will try to branch out a little bit and give you more recipe ideas. You know, there is so much stuff on the internet, so many different recipes and so many different ideas that I encourage you to just look around there and kind of see what you can find. One of my favorite things is kind of, I'll read a bunch of recipes and look at what people are doing, and then I just kind of create something on my own, kind of using what I like from this and use what I like from that. Obviously, with baking, you can't really do that. You kind of need to follow a recipe. Baking is a lot more scientific. But we also, for me, I kind of have to go on, well, what do I have? Because I think it's a lot easier to open up my cupboard and my refrigerator and see what I have and make a meal than have this recipe that I feel like, okay, I have to go to the store and get the rest of the things for this recipe or else I can't do it. I just find that being really limiting for myself. So definitely there will be some more cooking show videos on the way. Derek Smith, are we totally against psychiatric medications? I get the feelings that you guys do. I wouldn't say that I am completely against psychiatric medications. I think that there are some very responsible psychiatrists who do know how to use them correctly and judiciously. But for the most part, they are overprescribed, they are overused. There is definitely a financial incentive on behalf of the pharmaceutical companies to convince more psychiatrists to prescribe more drugs. And just looking at the population and the percentage of the population who is being prescribed psychiatric medications, I think it's just way too alarmingly high. So there's going to be a small percentage of the population who could really benefit from maybe short-term use of a psychiatric medication under very, very, strict guidance of a professional psychiatrist and of a doctor. But in terms of, I think it's something like 1 in 5 Americans is on antidepressants. That's just ridiculous. That is way too much dependence on psychiatric medications. And again, just a little gander at our channel can give you a really good idea of why we feel the way that we do. So I encourage you to take a look at our channel if that's something you want a little bit more information on. So can't weed this. I lost 50 pounds permanently on high carb before exercising, but now I have the energy to exercise because of this diet, so I do.
So you do.
I'm a little confused by your comment
probably
there.
In response to.
Yeah, I think that y'all were probably having a little conversation in there. Alrighty. Ms. Robertson, all right, you guys are having fun in here. What are my thoughts on the paleo diet? Rihanna Bernard, or Rihanna, I'm not exactly sure how you say your name. Thank you for your question. So I've been a vegetarian for a couple of years now. I do eat fish, so some people would call me a pescatarian. But I actually listened to a lecture the other night on the paleo diet. I kind of felt like I should be my own devil's advocate or whatever and listen to the paleo lecture and see what he said. So basically the paleo diet involves trying to eat the way that our ancestors would have eaten, or eaten the way that the caveman ate, for instance. So when they look at evolutionary diets and how different cultures have eaten over the planet over the course of the last, several thousand years, what they find is that pretty much every single culture does eat animal products, does eat meat, and they depend a lot on the fat of the animals, and they actually kind of cherished and revered the fat of the animal. And it's interesting because often, because we live in this society now where they tell us not to eat fats. Saturated fat is bad for you. And actually what they were discussing in this lecture is that saturated fat is actually good for you. We actually need some good high quality fats. Now, obviously, we don't need tons and tons and tons of them, but we do need some of them. And the cool thing about fats is that they kind of self-regulate. So at the point that you don't need anymore, you will feel full and you won't want to eat anymore. So that was some of the things that they mentioned in that little lecture. And in terms of the paleo diet working for people, there's actually a lady that I know personally who I have watched her just slim down significantly on the paleo diet. And I think the primary reason is that it takes you off of processed foods, which is pretty much what I tell everybody to do anyways. Hey, lay off the processed foods. So when you're trying to eat like our ancestors, right, there's no MSG, there's no aspartame, there's no Kraft microwave meals, there's no instant oatmeal or whatever, right? You're actually trying to eat natural foods like fruits, vegetables, and meat. Now, he did recommend that in terms of the amount of meat, it's something like 6 to 7 ounces a day, which I think is roughly like the size of the palm of your hand, or I'm not exactly sure how they do that, but 6 to 7 ounces, you can weigh your meat and see how much that is. But he said that most people on a paleo diet, in his opinion, actually eat way too much meat. They depend too much on meat and not enough on the natural fruits and vegetables and things that give us a lot of other nutrition. So in terms of my thoughts on the paleo diet, I would say to just limit the amount of meat. Don't take it as a green card to just eat however much meat you want and lay on the bacon and lay on the sausage and lay on all this stuff, because they didn't have sausage back in Paleolithic times. And just kind of think that, well, if we were actually hunting and gathering, you wouldn't have this never-ending supply of meat all the time, right? They really cherished the animals that they did find, and they actually ate all of the different parts of the animals. So there's a lot of benefit to be found in making bone broths, for instance. So you actually take the bones and cook them down for a really long time and create a broth with it, which has a lot of healing effects. They eat the organ meats. I don't know if I will ever eat organ meats, but just this idea of, actually eating natural meats, preferably grass-fed meats, not eating too much meat, not eating processed meat, and laying off of processed foods will definitely probably help just about anybody lose weight. But again, I don't think that it's necessary to go on some strict diet and have all of these kind of barriers and guidelines in order to lose weight. If you just take a couple of simple recommendations, then that should be just as helpful to you as going on a more restrictive type of diet. Can Psychetruth twerk? Of freaking course we can. Alrighty. Corrina and Cindie, do you guys... Okay, here we go. There's the...
Yeah.
So yes, there will definitely be some more cooking videos coming up. Oh, let's see.
I think they're having a little conversation within themselves there.
Yeah, a little conversation about aspartame and stevia going on here.
Great. Yeah.
So stevia is a natural sweetener. It is not an artificial sweetener. So again, somebody made the comment that it's kind of new, that hasn't really been around that long, which is kind of true. So I wouldn't probably eat huge amounts of stevia, but stevia is going to be way more healthy and way more safe than any of the artificial sweeteners like aspartame. Okay, so this is a good question. Amilcar Rod, do steamed vegetables lose the nutritional properties or lose the nutritional value? So anytime we cook a vegetable, we do start to alter the nutrition content of that vegetable. Now, with that said, there's some vegetables that we actually don't want to eat raw, like sweet potatoes or regular potatoes. You actually don't want to eat those foods raw. But in terms of, broccoli, zucchini, cauliflower, tomatoes, I you can kind of think about the veggies you would see on a veggie tray at the grocery store. Celery is another one. All of those vegetables that you can eat raw, they do start to lose some of their nutritive content as you heat them. So I always, if I am going to cook my vegetables, just try to do it minimally. So you think about the broccoli at the cafeteria that you could basically like squish with a fork. It's completely soft and soggy. Most of the nutritive content has been cooked out of that food. So you want it to still be kind of bright in color and still have some firmness to it, still have a little bit of texture to it. And the least you can cook those vegetables, the more nutritive content they're going to have. And then also, if you drink the water that you cook them in, or use it as the broth for a soup, or sometimes what I'll do is if there's just a little bit of water, I'll kind of pour it over the veggies and use it like a sauce. But if you actually eat the water that you steam your veggies in, then you can get some of those nutrients back.
Cool, I didn't know that.
Okie dokie, you guys, we are just over 6 o'clock here, so we're gonna continue since we had a couple little little technical difficulties in there, but we are starting to wind it up. So now is the time to throw out your question. Willman Stan, I like this. A diet is like joining a cult; it just never lasts. That's kind of funny. All right, so Wilfredo Tour, I like to sweeten up my green tea with honey. I like it more than sugar. Is it a better alternative? Oh, freaking heck yes it is. Especially if you can get raw honey or local honey that is actually from somewhere nearby where you live. It has even more nutritive benefits. So yes, honey is a great sweetener. It's probably one of the only ways to sweeten something naturally to where you actually have some health benefits that come from it too. Especially if you suffer from allergies or sinus issues, then local honey would be a really good thing to start adding into your diet. Okay. Alrighty, so there's some questions about weight loss here. I'm going to come back over to the Facebook really quick and just see. Oh, there's more questions here. Yes, give the girls a thumbs up. I agree. Sing the Growing Pains theme song. Yeah,
I like this one.
Have to work that on it. Just go organic and you don't have to worry about what you eat. Oh yeah, somebody just said my plastic cup. So this is actually from the juice bar here. This is a compostable cup. 100% compostable. This is what I had my smoothie in. Normally I do drink out of glass. Anybody who knows me knows that normally I drink out of glass, but today I was kind of in a hurry trying to get into live chat, so I just used my cup that had my smoothie in it earlier, and that's why I have a plastic cup here. But since this is a compostable cup grown and made in the USA from annually renewable sources, it is going to be a lot better than most of the other, plastic products out there that contain bisphenol A and all kinds of other stuff. So hopefully I'm not poisoning myself with this plastic cup. But thank you for noticing it. And you're right. It's always going to be better to drink out of glass than to drink out of plastic. Okie dokie. Okay, so yeah, one more question off the Facebook here. Let's see. So Dan from Los Angeles asked, what's my advice on loose skin? I've lost over 100 pounds and I'm left with a saggy belly. Please help. Number one, way to freaking go on losing 100 pounds. That's freaking incredible. In terms of loose skin and getting loose skin to tighten, I think it's just kind of a matter of time. I would think that something like vitamin E or something that contains collagen applied topically would probably be beneficial. You will, over time, it will tighten back up again. I'm not really sure how you can expedite that process, but I'll look into that, and I will let you know if there's maybe something that you can do to kind of expedite that process. Okie dokie. All right, so we just had another flood of questions over here come in. Or I'm sorry, another flood of comments. Where are they? So somebody asked earlier about DHEA as a supplement. I've known a lot of people that take DHEA and actually find that it is helpful for them. So I'd say, heck, if it's helpful, then that's probably a good sign. I think anytime we're, supplementing, it's just important to recognize that a supplement is a supplement to what should be a healthy diet. So we don't want to depend on supplements and still be eating junk. It's not really going to, obviously it would be better than eating junk and not taking supplements. But you don't want to take supplements and think that, that makes it okay to eat a bunch of junk food and not eat healthy. Any supplement is going to be a supplement to what you're already doing. And I think it's always going to be best to actually get our nutrients and get our vitamins from actual whole foods themselves, rather than from something where they've been isolated and put in a capsule or something like that. Alrighty. Will Manstan said that about the 30 banana a day diet and other odd diets, they're all just guinea pigs. I'll take them seriously when they make it to the age of 80. And that's a really good point. So, it reminds me of something that I really like to say, which is that the proof is in the pudding. Proof is in the pudding. So, we can look and we can see, what have people survived on for millions of years? Well, natural foods, vegetables, things that aren't processed, things that aren't adulterated. And yeah, something like this 30 bananas a day diet idea, that's something pretty new. We haven't actually seen, how Durian Ryder is going to look into his 80s. I think that, it's really interesting. There's a lot of people who are on a raw vegan diet and they'll take videos of themselves and they're like 60 or 70 and they look like they're 40. So I think there's a lot to be said about just eating lots and lots and lots of vegetables. So it doesn't mean you necessarily have to go raw and vegan, but just realize that each and every one of us would benefit significantly just by eating more vegetables, and certainly by going off of the processed foods and trying to limit processed foods in our diet as much as possible. Okie dokie. So Martin R. Cruz asked, do we like hard rock, heavy metal music? If so, what are some of our favorite bands?
I really like rock and metal, gotta admit. I'm actually really silly, and I'm probably gonna get a lot of controversial feedback on this, but I love Megadeth. I do. One of my favorite all-time bands. I actually went to see Dave Mustaine in concert last year. It was really boring because he was all just standing there because he was not into it anymore. But it was great. Motorhead is one of my favorites. If you guys have ever heard of this band called Concrete Blonde, I have a cassette. It's from the 80s. It's like an 80s hair band. Love them. And I can go on forever. Music, yeah. Woo.
Yeah. Racer X was a pretty ridiculous band. Alice in Chains.
Oh, Alice in Chains is good too.
Like Alice in Chains a lot.
Yeah, totally.
There's definitely
there's
this
this
heavy
really
metal
cool
bands.
band called Soleil that I've been getting into lately. It's not like metal or anything, but they have really interesting lyrics. Like this girl just sings about most random stuff. It's pretty cool. Yeah. So on a random side note, I'm really tired, guys. That's why
we've had a
it's
really
been Jay and
long day.
Silent Bob this whole that. I've just been yep, whatever she said, yep.
And I feel bad because I get really carried away because
Yeah.
I'm used to having done these by myself too. So I just try to speed answer all of the different questions and stuff.
But we have had a really, really long day.
Had a long day. We shot a bunch of videos earlier today, so you can stay tuned for that. You guys, it's about 6:20 here, and it looks like there's not any more questions. Of course, as soon as I pick up my guitar, I'm sure that the all the comments will just flood right in. But you guys, I'm going to go ahead and round this one out for the day. I want to thank you all so much for being here and invite you to come back next week when our special guest is Athena Jezik. So get your questions about massage, lymphatic work, whatever the heck you want to talk to Athena about. And I look forward to seeing you again next week. It's time for live chat. The Psychetruth live chat. Every Wednesday at 5 p.m. Central Standard Time on your YouTube machine. Live chat, live chat, live chat, live chat. It's the Psychetruth. Live chat, live chat, live chat, live chat. It's the Psychetruth. Live chat.
Thank you guys.
Thank you all so much for being here, and we will see you again next week. Thanks for watching.
Bye. Oh my god.
An error occurred when trying to modify your event. You may have been logged out. Wait, so
yeah?
Is it still streaming? It says you're live. Okay, guys, so we pressed stop streaming, and it looks like it's not stopping.
Still streaming. I guess we're just going to have to take the camera home with us and show our lives.
Isn't that funny? When we're in the middle of the live chat, the computer goes off and stops it, but now that we're actually at the end of the live chat, it's not appearing to work. It looks like it is. We are we're still live. And of course, here's the big comment flood that just came in. Concrete Blonde Rocks.
Yeah!
Tony Max, man, Corrina likes jazz. I'm guessing it's true. I do like jazz, but I can get into some freaking metal also.
She played a metal show. What was it, like on Friday or something? I don't know. It was pretty cool. She was all like playing the bass for this metal band. It was awesome. It was pretty.
Yeah,
cool
it was really cool. It was really fun. We might actually be able to post a video of that. But I had my bass debut playing bass. It was really fun. Honestly, I probably am gonna start a metal band because it was so much fun.
Oh wait, go back up. I saw another question that I might want to answer because I've gotten like 0 questions.
If you had to pick one form of yoga to do for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Yin yoga. Actually, Yana yoga. The yoga of knowledge, the yoga of study. That's not necessarily like a yoga of physical practice. So as far as the levels or like the different kinds of yoga, I would do Yana. As far as physical practice, I would actually do Yin yoga, the practice of stillness and opening. It's really therapeutic.
So this is kind of a cool comment. Ms. Robertson says, thanks to Corrina, I have not been microwaving everything, and I noticed that food actually tastes better when reheated on the stove or toaster oven. So that's freaking awesome.
It does, yeah.
Somebody asked for what's a good breakfast idea in a replace of cereal, something you can add milk to. You can actually even have oatmeal or have something like that. You just want to not go with the one that's instant and has a long ingredient list. Look for the one that just says like 100%, steel cut oats or rolled oats and nothing else. And then you can add a little bit of honey or add some fruit add peanut butter or add whatever you want. I don't know about necessarily adding milk to brown rice, but one thing I really do like to do for breakfast is just have a bowl of brown rice. And again, add cranberries or add blueberries or add whatever, add peanut butter. And we do have a whole video on breakfast foods, so hopefully you can check that out if you want more ideas. I love tons of sugar. I always use my veggie steam water to boil my rice. That's pretty cool. That's a good idea. I like that idea.
Have fun at your softball game, Charlie.
Yes, Charlie. Thank you so much for being here. Somebody wants us to show our feet. You'll actually see Cindy's feet when you see the video that she filmed today.
You can see my boot. Yeah.
This is shreddy.
I don't know what that is.
Yes, there's fully raw Christina. I'm familiar with fully raw Christina. And, there's a lot of benefits into a fully raw diet. But the reason that I don't kind of harp on that is because it's just not really practical for most people. It's not even practical for me. So I try to opt when I'm giving advice for things that I think are going to be most applicable and most practical for the most amount of people. So certainly there is a lot of benefit to eating raw. And, when you're eating raw, you're literally cutting out all processed foods, all refined sugar, completely. So there's a lot of benefit to that. But again, it can be kind of difficult to do and difficult to do correctly for people that do want to go raw. I just encourage you to really educate yourself about it. Anytime you're going to cut a lot of things out of your diet, you need to replace them with something. So you don't want to just take things out of your diet and then try to survive on this little tiny amount of food of what you used to be eating. You actually want to replace those foods you're taking out with new foods. Add new foods in. And that's going to make it a lot freaking easier to actually have something like that be practical and sustainable for you. Chicago loves me. That's awesome. I've never been to Chicago, but I'm sure I would like it also. I don't know what to do here. Okay, you guys, we are going to go ahead and say ciao for now. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll see you next week. That is so weird. It's like you're live. Look, I closed the window, and it still says I'm live.
What the hell?
Guess we'll find out. Maybe if I turn the computer off, it'll...
I don't know. Is it still going?
I don't even know.
It's time.